Hello, hello. My name is Joy Roberts, and I am one of the co-founders of Friendzy, and I'm excited to share some really good news with all of you today. As you probably heard, through a grant, Friendzy is partnering with the Diocese of San Diego to bring your mission to life and support the hard work that you're already doing to create faith-filled schools where students grow in their relationship with God, they lead in service, and with the support of Friendzy, we're teaching life skills. We call it Skills for Good, Skills for Life. We already have the privilege and honor of serving a handful of amazing schools in your diocese, including St. Mary's in Escondido, California. And you can see from the feedback from Emily that we support Catholic schools in teaching kids on how to love God, how to love each other. The Friendzy program is fun. It's scripture-based character education that builds friendships, strengthens school cultures, and really forms hearts for Christ. So when we think about what we're doing with this grant, I wanted you all to see at a glance what are the grant benefits. First of all, every preschool gets our preschool program, even your standalones. Secondly, every K-8 school receives three grades at no cost. So again, you can pick your mix. Again, I would recommend starting with teachers who are really, really excited, looking for a resource and tool like Friendzy. But again, 3 grades free at no cost. If you have additional grades that would like to participate in Friendzy, you get an additional 50% grant off, and you can use your title dollars. So if you have any remaining title dollars, you can apply them. Another exciting component of this program is that you have free pre and post assessment. So you get to measure climate culture and student well-being at the beginning and at the end of the year. And this is all included in the grant. So it's robust, it's supportive, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how you roll that out at your schools. But before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the why behind Friendzy. Why is Friendzy going to be so valuable to the work that you're already doing? First of all, we know, you know, as educators that students are struggling. They're walking into our classrooms without the skills that they need to really succeed, not only in education, but in life. And so when we look at what's happening here, we know that because students are lacking skills, it's showing up in higher levels of classroom disruptions, which are impacting every single classroom, losing up to 14 and a half days of instructional time inside your classroom. So we know that's a problem. If any of you have read The Anxious Generation, Friendzy is founded on the research from the anxious generation, knowing that students are battling depression, anxiety is climbing, and these are the students who are walking into our classrooms. We also know that students are walking in without the social skills that they need to navigate the social landscape of school. We know we're the most technologically connected yet socially disconnected generation that has ever existed. And what we also know is that as students are lacking these skills, that very practically, students are going to need these skills for the workforce. This is the #1 occupational need in the job market today. And I know this to be true. I have adult children, and in their interviews in the field of finance and data analytics, 75–80% of the questions being asked of them are, how do you navigate conflict? How do you keep trying when things are hard? So again, these are vital skills that we know students need. In fact, we know that when we teach these skills, we see positive academic outcomes. We see higher testing scores. We see lower classroom disruptions and problems. We also know you as educators, 9 out of 10 teachers are looking for tools to teach these skills to students. And what we also know is that teachers are asking for support and help. And when we look at the landscape with educators, we know that you have stress. In fact, we know that teachers are equally as challenged as ER nurses. And so part of that is the workload and the demand on your time. But a key component that you'll notice is that student well-being is impacting teachers as well. So Friendzy is all about providing a framework, a tool, a resource so that you as teachers, as educators can support your students and tool up in this landscape that we're facing today within our schools. So I'm sure you're all asking, how does this work? How does a Friendzy program work? So I'm going to give you a quick snapshot. First of all, what makes Friendzy unique is we are scripturally based and relationally centered. So it's all about how do you love God? How do you love your neighbor? The beautiful piece of Friendzy is we're going to provide a unified language for your school and your campus. And then you're going to see that Friendzy is very flexible to use. So our grant with the Diocese of San Diego covers 3 years. Say it again, 3 years. And so we're going to build in a support system and structure over the next 3 years. And it's going to have some flexibility so that teachers are not going to feel overwhelmed. They get to feel supported. And if you're wondering, what does Friendzy teach? We call these skills for good, skills for life. And what we're really doing is teaching emotional competency to your students through the lens of scripture. So we start with self-awareness. When students are self-aware of their emotions, their feelings, their strengths, their limitations, then they can move to self-management, that impulse control, that you got to name the emotion to tame the emotion. We are teaching skills around how to make responsible decisions and choices. We also are tooling students up to be socially aware so that they can consider the needs of others, practice social perspective taking, things like empathy, compassion, kindness. We know that in the last decade, so if any of you have been teaching for more than 10 years, you know that empathy has declined by 40% in students. That's the bad news, but the good news is we can teach empathy, compassion, kindness. And that leads to our fifth emotional competency, which is relationship skills. Students need to learn, how do you work through conflict? How do you collaborate, cooperate, ask for forgiveness, extend forgiveness? These are skills that can be taught inside the Friendzy program. Okay, now you're wondering, how does this work? There are three primary components of Friendzy. We call it the DNA. First, we have teaching curriculum, so explicit lessons that come in print, and you have Google slide decks already built for you that have videos, reflection questions, images that you can cast up on your screen. So you have a handy teacher's guide in your hand, and you have a supporting slide deck. We also have student workbooks. These are not academically challenging. You will use them in transition times for student reflection. These are going to be a valuable tool for students to think and process before they put that faith into action. The second component that we offer is whole school support. So we provide training, ongoing coaching, support, continuing education over the course of your 3 years with Friendzy. And here's where you will find that pre and post assessment so that you can measure what's working, what's not working, how can you build up and establish your climate and culture on your school's campus. And then the third component that we think is incredibly valuable is the parent piece. So you have proactive, positive parent engagement pieces for your families. So what you're teaching and supporting students with at schools has a pathway and inroad to go back into the home environment. Now, if you're wondering how much time it takes, it's once a week, 20 to 40 minutes. Then you have daily reinforcements. These are things that you're probably already doing, like emotional check-ins, exit tickets, things that are going to support you, like warm welcomes. So again, you're teaching one time a week, 20 to 40 minutes. Often it's put inside religion, homeroom, advisory for your middle school students. We have a 9 volume sequence. So what that means is every year you get new content. And I'll show you in a moment what that content looks like. And a key component that I've mentioned many times is the unified language. So I want to pause. This is a lot of words on a screen. The top band is for early education, pre-K. The middle band is K-8 programming, and the bottom band is high school. Now, I do want to mention that the grant specifically is for K-8, but we're extending the 50% off grant for high school as well. So the Friendzy program spans kindergarten, pre-K through high school. And what you'll notice here is we have catchphrases. So every month you have a catchphrase. This is that unified language that students catch on to and remember. We get feedback all the time from our Friendzy school saying, my kids were saying the catchphrase, love at all times, we need each other, opening the door in the hallway and saying, no, you first. So again, these catchphrases cover once a month, or cover one theme a month. So you get to practice that many times over so your students can remember it and catch on to it. I'm going to pop up for you a QR code if anyone is just itching to get their hands and see what Friendzy looks like. Here are sample units, again, for pre-K, K-5, middle school, and high school. You can take a look at that at a glance. Now I want to anchor us in on the impact and effectiveness of Friendzy. So when you think about Friendzy, we want to walk away with positively impacting your school and culture. And so with this pre and post assessment, we've completed a 3-year longitudinal study. And what we're seeing in Catholic schools is that you're increasing and elevating character skills. Students are improving their ability to show, demonstrate, and live out self-control, and their ability to recognize emotions so that they can manage emotions is also increasing. And then here on this side, you see the tremendous unilateral impact on climate and culture. So safety, fairness, belonging, and academic support. And how we measure this, again, is a very valuable tool that you have for free at your fingertips. And it is a K-8 direct assessment, a high school survey, and a K through 12 climate culture survey. So that, my friends, is a high-level overview of Friendzy. If you have questions, comments, or wonderings, we'd love to hear from you. Our team, our Friendzy team, is reaching out and contacting you this week. And so we are contacting you to get you registered, get your materials shipped to you, set you up for teacher training. We're actually going to put teachers in cohorts. It's simple, it's easy, it's 60 minutes. You have lots of time options to choose from. And we want to make sure that you get scheduled for that pre-assessment. So again, I'm Joy Roberts, one of the co-founders of Friendzy. Let me welcome you to the Friendzy. I look forward to connecting with you, serving you, partnering with you over the next 3 years. My contact information is right here, and I look forward to hearing from you.